of the cool things about about being a adult toy collector is customization. And while many of us are not at all artistic enough to create our own figures, we can do things like, pop the head off one figure and pop the head off another and, switch them up. And oh, boom, hey, if that actually fits, it fit yesterday. There we go. Now we have animated Cable from X-Men 97 from the finale. Cool, right? Well, this doesn't always work, and I want to talk today because I kind of bought the new Weapon X Wolverine for all the wrong reasons. Well, let's take a look at the lack of swappability that I didn't think I was going to get here on Spector Creative. Did that even make sense? Yeah, lack of... Let's just go on with the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Spector Creative. I'm Toy Guru Neitlich, lifelong collector and lifelong human being. I've existed for my whole life and I continue to exist. Thank you for existing and for being part of this channel and for watching these videos, because we couldn't do it, if you weren't interested in them. I mean, I guess I could, but it's a lot more fun when you're interacting with people. It's what, humankind is all about. Interacting, customization. See, hey, that was an interesting transition. Customizing your toys, right? So I talked about in the opening there, hey, look, I made a Cable X-Men 97 finale figure simply by taking the figure from the Build-A-Figure wave. And oh, look, I put that face on the animated body. That actually looks pretty badass too. So yeah, that's honestly one of my favorite ways of customizing action figures, is simply taking one head and putting it on another. When I was the brand manager at Mattel over the Motu Classics line, it's actually one of the things I insisted on, was that all of the heads, of course, now I'm like, can I get Merman's head off? There we go. All the heads were to be on universal joints. It actually delayed the first two figures because they weren't. And I insisted that that be, because I knew how much, as a collector myself, fans were going to want to do stuff like this. I mean, maybe not literally like this, although this is actually kind of cool. But yeah, for those of us who don't have the talent to paint or sculpt or otherwise change a figure, just swapping heads or armor or different pieces that are removable is often one of the things we look forward to. And that's actually why I bought the new Weapon X Wolverine. Now you may say, well, wait a minute, looks like you've already swapped around some parts. And yeah, I have. See, I had the old one and I had the new one. The reason I bought the new one, this is the new one, sort of. This one's got the head from the new one. And that's exactly my point. I bought the new one because, well, one, I mean, I like the character, and it fits perfect for my existing X-Men Marvel Legends collection. When I was a kid and the Toy Biz Weapon X Wolverine came out, I remember they issued him several times. Each time he had different colored tubes. They were green, they were red, maybe I want to say they were blue. I'm sure I'll show the correct images here. I pulled the images after I do the recordings. And one of the things I really liked about the new one is that, yeah, it was so the old one had the red tubes and the new one had blue. So my plan was I was going to do a full-on, like, part swap out the wazoo, right? Because I was like, this is great. We've got two new heads, and they were the old heads. We had, so these two new heads, and then these two old heads. Oh, hold on. Turn around. There we go. Good, Logan. Okay. Now, I also knew there were new hands. So, like, for example, the new one came with these sort of like claws popping out for the first time hands, as opposed to the, straight claw fist. And this is actually the first time we've ever had, I think, open hands with claws. So there were enough new pieces that made me interested in buying the new Weapon X, because my plan was to basically take both figures completely apart and then construct the perfect Weapon X figure, where I can mix and match heads and belts, and you'll even notice the chest harness, right, is different. So this one has a bar across the chest, this one doesn't, and even the backs are different. So yeah, the only pieces that are actually the same are really, I would say, the base sculpt, but they've even replaced, the new one has pinless joints, but the belt The belt is the one thing that's the same. All right, so why not just buy the new one and be like, oh, okay, I'll just go with that. It's got all these new parts. Well, the new one, here, I'll pop the head that comes with it on. So the new one has raw plastic, which it drives me crazy. Hold on, let me pop the old head on the old one. So this is the one from the Caliban Build-A-Figure wave. All right, so you'll notice that not only are there deco hits on the screens and stuff, but they're all decoed. All of his wire, his boxes, and his helmet are painted, as opposed to this one that's raw gray plastic, which honestly, I'm sorry, it drives me crazy. Raw plastic. I mean, here's a perfect example. I'm gonna make it fall over, but like Darkhawk, right? Also has silver on him. It's painted like this one. Having raw plastic is a way to save money, and it's a way that Hasbro, as has been noted by the CEO in a memo or an interview he did with Yahoo Finance a few months ago, Chris Cox talked about how Hasbro has been deliberately cost-reducing figures down to a price point instead of raising the price to what it cost. And because of that, we've been getting figures that are now sort of what I would call inconsistent. And this is a perfect example because the original figure had fully painted tech and the new one has raw plastic. But what's also interesting about the new one is I thought they were also going to go very skimpy on the other deco, but there's actually even more. I mean, he's got an extra hit on the helmet. The hits on, I call it the belt stuff, it's different. There's sort of like as many, but they're in different places. So like this one's got the 2 yellow here, and this one only has 1 red. Hold on, am I holding this up right there? There you go. This one has green at the bottom of the one on the right. This one has red. This one also has a green tube there. On this one, the tube is brown. So what I hoped to do was to basically unplug all of the, little tubes which come off, swap the belts, swap the harnesses, and basically make a ultimate version of Weapon X Wolverine using the new parts like the, call it first time punching claw, first time the claws came out hands, whatever you want to call them. And the harness from the new one is more correct to the art, to Barry Windsor Smith's art from the Weapon X Marvel Presents miniseries, or not miniseries, but I guess the run they did on Marvel Presents. Okay, so, and besides the fact that the claws still pop out, which drives me crazy, you'd think that they would figure out a way to have the claws glued in at this point. Look at that, they just they constantly are falling out. I think I am going to glue them in eventually. I don't like gluing toys, but I will because, oops, see, I'm going to lose this tiny little piece because I would rather glue it than lose it. All right, there we go. I'll get the claws back in. See how easy they are to knock out? Okay, so yeah, so there's things I basically like about both of them. In fact, one of the great things about the new one is, look at this, the blue wires, they pop right out like that. And as soon as I did that, I was like, oh, perfect, I'm going to swap them. So that way I could have 1 red wire and 2 blue wires, or, a combination instead of having all red or all blue, which is how it was in the comic. He had different colored wires. It's one of the things that always drove me crazy, actually, about this release and the old Toy Biz releases, is that he had 3 wires, and all the wires and all of the releases were always the same color. So I was going to mix and match wires. I was going to mix and match helmets. Yeah, it doesn't work. I was so, well, disappointed. I thought everything was going to be swappable, but it's not. Even the helmets are actually different helmets. I thought they were the same. I was even hoping I could maybe boil them and swap, so I had the yelling face with the better decoed helmet. But unfortunately, no. I mean, not only, let me take them off here. They are it's not the same tool. I thought it was just the same tool of the helmet with a different face, but it's not. Yeah, you can see they're different. They're completely different sculpts with different facial expressions. So, and here's the really annoying part. While most of the things, there are some things that will swap, like you can't, for example, take the old screaming head. It won't go on the new body. I mean, it kind of will, but it doesn't. It falls off. But it both had, but the new head, the one that like the Barry Windsor Smith helmetless head, does go on the old body. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. There's not universal swappability. So in the end, what I did was I put the Barry Windsor Smith helmetless head and the I Just Popped Out My Claws on the red tubed body. And then the blue tube body, I'm going with the better decoed helmet, even though it's not a match for the boxes on his chest. And then you just plug that in there. I do like the blue better than the red because I think the blue, you can see the details a lot better versus on the red. So, but yeah, so I basically kind of kit bashed two different. Neither one are the original, but I guess that's what I'm going to wind up with. I was really hoping I could swap around more parts and maybe like put basically I was going to wind up with one, but instead I've wound up with two. So yeah, I guess that's a better thing because two is always better. But I only needed one Weapon X for my shelf, which is going to be this one. So yeah, I mean, it is a combination of pieces from both releases, but not quite the ultimate version that I wanted to make. So yeah, that's why I think that universal swappability is very important because it allows those of us with very little customizable talent to customize. I mean, here's the new cap that came with Venom in the Capcom 2-pack, and I popped on the old Catwolf head. While the blues aren't a perfect match, boom, I can customize because I can swap heads. I can't do much else. All right. Well, thanks for listening to my rant. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, thank you for joining this channel. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the likes and the shares and the subscribing, all that stuff. It's needed too. And, all hail the algorithm. See you guys in the next video.